Welcome to the Just JFO show. My name is Jennifer Fricelli, but everyone calls me JFO. And I am a spiritual teacher and astrologer, and my website is called justjfo.com, where I bring you customized life solutions and hilarious self-help. So today's topic is astrology real? It's funny because you skeptics out there, I understand you. Why? Because I used to be you. When I was around 16 years old, I found a book called Sexual Astrology, and I started to read up on my sign, and I realized that it was pretty accurate, but I didn't understand why. So I showed the book to other people, and they told me that it wasn't accurate for them. I thought it was strange. Why was it accurate for me, but not accurate for some other people? Something was missing. So I got another book called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need. And that book changed my life. Now here's the thing. I am super skeptical person and I'm very logical. And I didn't understand how this could work. I mean, the day you were born, it didn't make any sense to me. So I took the next 6 years studying the data. That's what you do when you have a kind of scientific, logical brain. I wanted to prove this thing wrong. So I started just doing every birth chart I could do. I did my own birth chart. I did the birth chart of other people that I knew. But then I started doing birth charts at parties in college. Yes, I was the weird girl at keg parties doing astrology when others were making out with someone. Before you knew it, everyone was telling their friends about this little party trick I could do. But I still didn't understand how I could do this trick. It was crazy. I started to read charts, and after doing it for 10 years, I got so good at it because I started to see patterns. And it wasn't about anything really special. I mean, anyone could really do this. It was just I really learned how to translate this strange astrological language into a way that people could understand. Then, before you knew it, I was having complete strangers almost crying when I was reading their charts because I knew more about them, their core being of their personality, than some of their closest friends and family. I knew it was onto something, but I couldn't figure out why. In the journey of being an astrologer, I've now been studying it for 20 years. I've had a lot of skeptics and a lot of people make fun of it. And it's always gotten me a little pissed off, of course, because it's something that I've studied really significantly. And because I have studied it, I know everything about it. But a lot of these skeptics don't know anything about it, and they're judging it from a superficial outside perspective. And I don't blame them, because in society, we view astrology as the fun, quirky horoscope you're going to read in your local newspaper. Or when you go to your dating profile, the zodiac sign you're going to choose, you're going to look for that match, right? It doesn't work that way. So I want to break down why astrology is real and really help you understand astrology in the right way. So I searched the internet for skeptics out there, astrology skeptics, to see what they were saying about astrology. And let me tell you, it's pretty funny what these skeptics are saying. And I found a bunch of things that they were saying, and I'm ready to use this to help you understand that astrology is real. The first thing the skeptics were saying, horoscopes are fake. Because if you were to go to a newspaper where the horoscopes are and you were to cover up the different signs and read all the descriptions, you wouldn't know which one was what sign. Well, guess what? They're right. Horoscopes are fun. They're exciting, but they're really, most of them, 80% of them are total BS. But there's some amazing astrologers out there who have found the art of really expressing the solar scope in a way that's super accurate and really awesome. So when an astrologer is doing a horoscope, what they're doing is they're doing a solar scope. What is a solar scope? They're taking your sign, Pisces, for example, and they're making it the first house of your chart. Now, let's not complicate things too much. We'll dive into the houses in another video. But basically, if you really want to read horoscopes the correct way, you're going to want to read your rising sign. And I will post a link to my rising sign calculator below this video. Technically, there's actually 144 combinations of the zodiac. Did that blow your mind? You're not a Sagittarius. You're a Sagittarius in the Cancer house. And you're not just a Sagittarius in the Cancer house. You could be a Sagittarius in the Cancer house with your moon in Capricorn in the first house. It's very, very complex. I don't do horoscopes because I don't like to generalize things when it comes to astrology. I love astrology because it's so complex and so detailed and so specific for you. And that's how I customize self-help for people, because I understand where they're coming from and where they're going with their personality. When I do a horoscope for my clients, I do the real horoscope. What is that? It's me taking your actual birth chart. The minute you went from oneness to two-ness and formed your own identity. And I take that chart and I look at the specific information and I see where all of the planets of now are falling in your chart. For you, specific, you need the time of birth for that. Remember, at the end of the day, you are not your sign. You, my friends, are your energy. You can come into a room with fear and judgment, or you can come into a room with joy and love. You own the power and you have choice. Don't ever let a horoscope tell you what to do with your life. You should tell you what to do with your life. So the second thing these skeptics were saying was, horoscopes are super vague. They didn't talk like that, but I use it for emphasis. Yeah, signs are vague. That's why do astrology with JFO the right way. It's complex. It's specific. And that's why it has to be customized specifically for you. The day you were born, the hour and exact time you were born, the location you were born, the month, the year. But to save time in this video, I'll just say it this way. If I were to read your sign, it would be vague. But if I were to read your entire birth chart, the full depth and scope of your unique personality, it would be a much different ballgame. Another reason why people think it's vague when you're talking about astrology is because a lot of people are just not well informed about what each sign means and how we understand the 12 themes of the zodiac. There's actually a very specific zodiac formula that breaks down each sign. And if you're interested in that, subscribe to my channel because I'm going to make that a future video. The third thing the skeptics were saying about astrology. Everyone on the same day should have the same personality if astrology is real. True. You're right. Another thing I think is really funny about astrology skeptics is they assume that people who believe in astrology, and I almost don't like to use the word believe, because astrology is kind of like the law of attraction or the law of gravity. It's there, whether you believe in it or not. And it's not a God we pray to. It's actually a cosmic technology that we can use to better our life. But I think it's funny that all astrology skeptics think that all people that love astrology or understand astrology or believe in it, that they think it's the only thing to believe in. No, the beauty of life is that there's more than one technology to help us understand it. You are your biology. You are your theology. You are your astrology. You are all of your ologies. That's why I like to call my spiritual tips and tricks my JFOology system, because you are your own ology. No one should tell you who you are and what you are except for you. But we can use biology when we need to go to the doctor. We can use theology when we want to pray to whatever spiritual force we want to pray to. And astrology really helps us understand why we do the things we do. Even psychology helps us too. We don't need to cut off all the other ologies in order to reap the beautiful benefits of what the zodiac can give us. Let's take the case of twins. Two people born in the same hospital on the same day. They should have the same personality, right? Wrong. You are more than your sign. Like I said before, you are your energy. You are your consciousness. When you die one day, your birth chart's going to die too. You don't take your personality with you. The personality started the minute you were born. Your personality is the unique story that your life is telling in this lifetime. It's the unique way you express the energy. And remember, the energy is your choice. Two people born on the same day, the same time, the same year, the same location. See how complex it is? They're not going to have the same personality because there's so many other factors involved. They're going to have different DNA or a different family structure. If they're not twins, they're going to live in different places, have different experiences. They're going to perceive the world in all different ways. They're going to have different thoughts and emotions, so they're going to be vibrating at totally different vibrations. Personality is just one small aspect of a full scope of the human. The fourth thing the skeptics were saying about astrology. There's new planets being discovered like all the time. And isn't there like a 13th sign now? All I want to say is this. If there really was a 13th sign that was so super important to our life, we would have to change our calendar. Do you see anyone changing our calendar? Yeah, you heard me right. Astrology is the calendar. You might not believe in it, but you follow it, whether you like it or not. We have 4 seasons, 3 months in each season. We have 12 months and 12 signs. So should we create a 13th month and have one season be a little off skew? I don't see a scientist doing that. I think a lot of times we take things way too seriously. Astrology is themes. It's not the end-all be-all of life. And also, there's a ton of things to study when you're talking about the subject of astrology. There's different types of astrology. There's different things that astrologers study. I study the North and South Node, which is the destiny line in the birth chart. Some astrologers like to study the aspects. Some astrologers like to study the degrees. It's such a complex system. So things are going to shift and change, of course. But astrology and astronomy, they've never really fully gotten along. Because astrology, like I said before, is themes. It's patterns of energy. And the fifth thing the skeptics were saying about astrology. Zodiac matching is so dumb. It doesn't even work. I watched this video from one of the skeptics on all this statistical information he had about OkCupid and how, because they have the astrological information on your profile, they did this study that showed that the zodiac matching didn't matter. Well, I'm excited to hear that because I never tell any of my clients to date based on signs. When it comes to the aspects in astrology, how each sign interacts with each other, when we're talking about that, we're actually talking about the theme. We're not talking about a person. There's certain signs that are neutral. There's certain signs that are harmonious. Then there's certain signs that are dissonance, not good at all. And then there's certain signs that are opposite, opposition, love, hate. When we're talking about these aspects, we're talking about the themes, not human beings. Human beings, like I said before, are super, super complex. Because there's 144 combinations of the zodiac, it's almost utterly impossible to really do a full-on matching of 2 people astrologically. Whenever I do a matching for 2 people, romantically or otherwise, I always look at least 4 to 5 charts. Why? Because I want to see each person's chart and how that works, right? So the sun and the sun. So if someone's a Virgo and someone's a Leo, yeah, maybe they don't get along on paper, but that's not the full scope. The other person might have moon in Sag, and then the other person might have moon in Capricorn, and as you can see, the moons and suns kind of mesh well. But it goes so much beyond that because then you have the chart of my planets in that person's chart and how I trigger them, and vice versa. Their planets in my chart and how they trigger me. Then you can even do a chart of the relationship. And by the way, that's all mathematical. Some people might get together and they're not a good astrological match. But when you really look at the behind the scenes information, you realize that maybe that person's Venus is in their relationship house. Or maybe their destiny sign is the same as their sun sign. There's so many unique and incredible combinations. And that's why relationships are super complex. And when you've studied astrology like me for 20 years, I can really help you understand where you're going to have miscommunication in the relationship or where you might have an effortless flow. When it comes to a relationship, the most important aspect is how 2 people are showing up. So you can have 2 people with an incredible astrological matching, but they can be so negative. Maybe one of them's narcissistic, and then they trigger each other like no other, and it's just toxic. Then you could have 2 people with horrible astrological matching, but they're both high vibe. They're flowing in their loving energy. They're not judging. They're not condemning. They're coming from that space of love and oneness, and they're really communicative. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter what their zodiac matching is. they'll most likely succeed better than any other match. So as you can see, astrology is real. It's an amazing cosmic technology we can use to understand ourselves and understand others. After doing it so long, for 20 years, I still, to this day, am shocked when I do a reading and it completely works. When someone looks at me and says, "How do you know me so well?" It's just astrology. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, share this video, and go to my website, justjfo.com, where you can connect with me more and get your own Cosmic Quickie to learn more about your chart. Have a good day. Bye.
Home, rush to see if she called or even left a message for me in a flash. All alone.